Okay everyone, let's continue on to section 7, IPsec VPN tunnels and Global Protect. PanOS VPN tunneling options. Okay everyone, in section 7 we're gonna look at Palo Alto's VPN tunneling options. And the options are very straightforward. IPsec tunneling. We want to connect remote offices. We want to connect to an external entity or a partner. You decide to partner with company B, your company A. Not necessarily you want to have an MPLS or a dedicated lease line to establish a private LAN or a private network between the two entities. You can do a cost-effective interconnect, and it's still private, over the internet by creating an IPsec tunnel. And in this type of connection, you have a service that will be encrypting your traffic in the Palo Alto, and this is the IPsec service that runs on the particular tunnel. So you have two type of faces that will be in charge of adding that encryption and an authentication process, so we know that the traffic is completely secure end to end. We're going to discuss that on this section, and we're going to also take a look at Global Protect VPN. And every firewall, or I would say every major or known network firewall vendor, will have their flavor of remote access VPN. Okay, I have an appliance, I have remote users, or you or company, it's allowing telecommute, which will require users working from home, working from anywhere in the world, to connect to your on-prem environment, because you either have an on-prem server, you have some sort of applications that are running on-prem on your data center, and those applications are not open to the outside world because they're not web applications. They're actually requires an end-to-end communication, and you need to have that type of connectivity secure over the internet. And the way we do it in Palo Alto is with Global Protect. We have two options in Global Protect. We have the portal and we have the gateway. Those two items or options in Global Protect are necessary to establish and enable Global Protect for our remote users. And we're going to take a look in upcoming sections. So if you can see on this slide, I have two type of connectivity or tunneling connectivities that we can establish in our Palo Alto firewall. In the left side, if you can see my mouse over here, I am hovering over what it seems to be a branch office. So I just put a small building here, and we have a Palo Alto. We have a dedicated WAN connection, and we have our on-prem environment, or I label this side of the network as our core data center. This office, we have some remote users because they're part of the organization, but they're not actually in the same regional area. So in this case, we need to provide them some remote connectivity, but not necessarily we need to have them on-demand connectivity, because we might need to have an always-on connectivity. Good example, we have a read-only domain controller in this branch office, and we need to have replication between the two domain controllers in our Active Directory environment. This is basically how do you allow users to authenticate into the environment. This is LDAP. So you have to create some sort of replication so the main data center can replicate those objects between the branch office and so on. So we cannot establish an on-demand tunnel or a remote access VPN for this type of scenario because we need to have an always-on connectivity. This is one example. Another example is having you peer with a partner, or you are providing services, or your partner company is providing services to you, and you need to have an always-on connectivity. So you need to build a site-to-site tunnel, and you configure your peers, and we're going to discuss what is peers and how to configure them in the Palo Alto. So basically what you need to do is have the two peers, and you'll establish that tunnel, and we'll encrypt that traffic. Okay, so our other option in VPN tunneling is our remote access VPN. In this case, you have users, and you can see the picture here. We have this lady that we don't know where actually she's working, but she seems to be working, and she needs to establish connectivity to the corporate data center where we have hosted all of our application servers, and we need to make sure that her connection over the internet is completely encrypted and it's secure. So we will not have some sort of man in the middle, or we're not going to have someone sniffing our traffic and seeing what is actually happening in the pipe or in this particular tunnel. So this requires the end user to have a client, and a remote access client. In this case, the Palo Alto uses Global Protect. And Global Protect is not just a simple remote access client. It does much more than that. It can profile your machine. It can find all the attributes of your machine and send that to your central Palo Alto, or in this case, to the Global Protect gateway, where that information will be sent into the Palo Alto, and we can identify the machine, and we know about the OS that is running. We can know what updates does that machine have. We can know if the machine is running with a up-to-date antivirus, and we can put even policies to say, well, if you're not running with known antivirus, or you're not updating your machine on a regular basis, meaning you don't have, in this case, if it's Windows, you don't have Windows updates enabled, then we can deny that traffic, and we can say, well, until you get your updates up to date, we're not going to give you access. And that can be also done with the power of Global Protect Client. So the Global Protect Client can also serve as an end user agent that will send the information from their local machine over the WAN to the on-prem Palo Altos, in this case to our on-prem firewalls. And we have two options in Global Protect. We have the portal and the gateway. The portal, this is where we point our users to download the client, because we host the copy of Global Protect Client in the Palo Alto itself. So we will have a web access gateway, or basically a website that is basically on the Palo Alto. And in that website, once the user enters their credentials and they're authenticated, they're going to be able to download the client, the Global Protect Client. We're going to have links to download that executable where they're going to be able to install on their machines and then establish connectivity. Then we have the gateway. The gateway is where we actually establish the connectivity to. So once we have the client, we point ourselves to the public IP of the outside facing interface in the Palo Alto, where we have the Global Protect enabled. So the remote users will point to either a DNS name, or FQDN. In this case, if you have a public DNS provider, you can have the Palo Alto's interface IP, or you can have also an assigned public IP as your Global Protect gateway, and clients will basically point there, and they will be able to establish a connection once they have authenticated access. And after that, this is treated like any other zone. So you can put policies to the Global Protect zone or the VPN zone. And then once you have that, you'll have access to the resources that you're allowed to. Okay, so this section is to discuss those two connectivity options. So if we want to leverage VPN tunnels in the Palo Alto, we will be able to do by implementing IPsec LAN to LAN or site to sites, and also enable remote access VPN with Global Protect. Okay everyone, in our next video we're gonna discuss IPsec site to site VPNs in tunnel mode. Thank you for watching.